Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a Heart of the Swarm broadcast brought to you by Doom Esports and Rifkin. We are casters from BaseTradeTV and spawning in the upper right-hand corner of the map, Neo Planet S, from the team Root, in the red trunks, the Terran player, TvZ.
And his opponent in the lower left, it is the blue Zerg, StarCraft Ascension's SCAJonSnow. And I always read Jon Snow and think Game of Thrones. I mean, I don't know what these guys are going with here.
What else would it be?
Right? Exactly. Now, ZVT, crazy different. But actually, you know what? This occurs to me. I do want to give a shout out to this before we get into this. Down here, at the bottom part of the screen, you guys will see this really cool, really slick looking overlay. This is completely public. It was supplied by Callsign Viper. He posted it on Reddit. There's a big Team Liquid thread. If you guys want access to this and many other really cool looking overlays like this, go ahead and check that out because he gave them away for free, which is what's really cool about it.
Definitely gotta love that community effort out there. People making things available for others. It's a wonderful thing to see in the StarCraft 2 world.
And wow, speaking of wonderful things to see, we have an engineering bay block. Wow, I can't even say it because that's how stunned I am. We don't often see this come out of players anymore.
No, I haven't seen an eBay first in a while, but this is pretty bold out of TvZ. I mean, this is obviously showing off that he's going for a command center first build of his own, but is that really what he's doing? His minerals are quite low right now. This is an odd way to start things off here.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe Flash did something similar on the same map for MLG. So this could, I don't know, like, this could just be a fanboy moment. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I saw my favorite player do this on this map. Let's do it. Why the hell not? I'm
sure he's got a plan, but this is actually kind of cool. He's going for a barracks behind it, and inside the main base, he's actually forced Jon Snow to take his spawning pool and gas.
And I do want to point out, we actually have, I think it's level 20 you get the Supply Depot, and 30 is the War Pig. I'm not sure, but you got the cool Supply Depot skin coming out of TvZ.
What do you think about the Ling skin, Rifkin, with those big wings? Have you run into that on ladder yet?
It kills me because on one hand it looks kind of cool individually, but when there's 40 Zerglings, it's a cluster bomb. I mean, I used a much more appropriate word than what I wanted to, but I think you guys get the idea. The other thing too is if you've played the campaign, spoiler alert, plug your ears for 2 seconds, you expect them to jump at the target! It kills me watching the Zerglings with the raptor wings not literally leap off the ground at my enemies.
Sounds absolutely horrifying. But, okay, Jon Snow here has got normal lings. We'll see if that metabolic boost finishes over if he gets those crazy wings on there. But it looks like he definitely wants to retake this hatchery, but...
That just reminded me, you haven't actually played through the campaign yet, have you?
I don't play Blizzard campaigns, Rifkin.
Oh man, dude, you need to know this. Okay, so the Raptor Zergling, the strain of evolution you get in the campaign, it allows the Zerglings to not only act like Reapers and jump up cliffs, but also leap at their targets from about 5 or 10 feet away.
Yeah, I've seen the footage. I've seen the descriptions and whatnot. It looks cool.
It's so cool. I hate playing Zerg. I'm a Terran player at heart. Most people should know this, but if you don't. And if there's one thing that would ever make me truly swap to Zerg full time was if that became a real upgrade in the actual game. It's so overpowered and broken, it never would. But if... Well,
you still got Legacy of the Void coming, so who knows what's in store from Blizzard there.
Can you imagine what crazy stuff's going to happen to the Protoss?
Well, here's what I'm going to do. I plan on playing all the campaigns at once in one fell swoop. How about them apples?
That's like saving an entire season of a TV show. You know, like Breaking Bad. Not even season, series. So you don't have to wait till like the mid-season breaks, like wondering, oh, what's going to happen next. Just get to watch it all at once. So I'm a little envious on that. Yeah. But man, we've got 4 Marines. They should be able to hold off the Zergling aggression, no problem. I mean, it's a very nice wall-off we have here at the Terran base. He's going for what I'm going to presume to be reactored Widow Mines, although I want to say Hellions because Hellions are like my favorite unit in the game, but it's a little bit late to really use them effectively, I feel.
The way that I've been approaching the matchup is to make just about 6 Hellions at first. This way you can control the map, you can deflect Lings at any point in time. The curious thing about this is that Jon Snow's gone for Ling speed, but he only has 4 Lings on the field. It's kind of bizarre in that sense, but I really like what TvZ is doing here, building the bunker in range of those Marines so that the SCV is protected.
Actually, that is actually a really cool placement because this cuts off so much surface area being next to the geyser. You can build a supply depot behind it, and it limits the actual ramp, so you can't have a flood in of units later on.
I dig it. I definitely dig it. I'm gonna steal it. I'm gonna use that later.
I don't think there's a lot of maps you could utilize this on, but it's pretty cool that on Neo Planet S, definitely something to keep in mind.
Overlord, there's gonna be a couple of Hellions here at first from from TvZ. And SCAJonSnow, on the other hand, he was trying to get in with that Overlord, yep, but unable to see what exactly the tech is. He did spot that third command center, though, and that's pretty important.
I really like that he's chosen to go Hellions, by the way. I called Widow Mines because that's what every Terran player's been doing. They're like, oh, here's a new unit, let's abuse it. But I still am a big fan of Hellion play. Even if it's only 4 or 6 to get in there and do some harass, Hellions are still very strong units, and people forget that. You get in there with 3, you can kill off a worker line.
Absolutely. It's the beauty of Terran. We have so many options.
SCAJonSnow, yeah, he's probably so used to a million other things, he's forgotten, oh yeah, I probably need like 7 queens and 2 evolution chambers at my main choke point.
Yeah. Here come the Widow Mines here. It's kind of tough to open with them, but if you add them on after you've kind of established your natural, you've gotten a feel for the map, it's definitely a safe move, and this one drone is going to get roasted by these Hellions once again, and bouncing between these 2 bases doesn't have creep spread.
He is going to get shut down here, I think. Taking a nice engage on the ramp should fry a couple more Zerglings, but you can't outrun Speedlings, man.
No, they are quite fast. Of course, there's no creeper, but a couple more Hellions going to join the fray, and if he actually turns, he can take them all out.
Very nicely done, yeah. SCAJonSnow not quite able to get that surround off.
I really like that TvZ is going for his +1/+1 so quickly. It's going to definitely open up a good amount of windows for him in this situation, considering he's scouted out the Zerg and not seen any evolution chambers yet. The other bad part about this is the fact he's not going to have a whole lot of units on the field, just adding on his 2nd and 3rd barracks, so he's going to be a little light, but thanks to those Widow Mines, I think he's going to be safe.
Yeah, delayed builds like this can be very vulnerable to things like early baneling, not even like all-ins, but just pressure some baneling and Zerglings. When you're on 3 bases like this, it's not easy to, like, I don't know, you can, or sorry, not 3 bases, sorry, 3 command centers like this, I should say, my mistake. It's not easy to get units out, as you said, and that's the biggest weakness when you're going for, again, delayed builds like this, but these Zerglings are being taken care of very nicely, but they do get the surround on the Hellions this time.
That's a big win for SCAJonSnow. I mean, looking at the supplies here, 92 to 64. The opportunity for pressure, I think if you're a Zerg player, definitely needs to come at least off of 2 base, with the 3rd acting as sort of like a macro hatch in that sense. We do see those Lings moving outside the base. They're definitely going to be careful of those Widow Mines, but no Baneling Nest, or Baneling Nest just finishing up here. No Roach Warren is on the field, so not going to be any type of play in that regard. But
SCAJonSnow taking a big hit. Lose how many kills? 10 kills on that Widow Mine.
That's the power of Widow Mines.
Yeah, okay, there's actually a lot of cool things I learned recently about Widow Mines. One being that you can actually see them very easily when they're burrowed. It's not like a slight discoloration in the ground. There's this kind of circular plate that looks very out of place.
Yeah, it's like a box on the field.
But also, people were discussing, like, okay, at MLG we saw Flash's Widow Mines literally attack nothing at times. And there's some cool math that's been put on the Team Liquid forums. You guys should really look into this. One of them being that the Widow Mine, you know, it's got about a 1.5 second channel attack, so that's why that missile is slightly delayed. But more importantly, if the target it has targeted channeling on dies, it'll swap targets. And if that target dies, it'll swap targets. And it has to keep rechanneling over and over again. So you can be stuck in these situations where you actually have no damage coming out of the Widow Mines because you're killing its targets too quickly.
That just hurts my brain, Rifkin. But what hurts my brain even more is, Lings and Banes everywhere.
Well, he's going to bait out the Widow Mine hits too, or he was trying to with a couple Zerglings. That way his Banes can get in here safely, but he's just barely missing these Widow Mines. He knows one
did go off. Yeah, he's got 8 mutas to follow up here too, so this is definitely going to be a big attack, and I mean, he needs to get some overseer. He does have an overseer with his army. This is very important to try to pick off those Widow Mines, sending in only 1 or 2 Lings at a time, try to draw the fire. More Widow Mines are going to join the fray, but you know, the thing about TvZ army is that he has stim, Rifkin. These Lings aren't very scary.
He doesn't know about this big attack, Doom. Oh, but the Widow Mine does. It's going to hit all the Banelings if not careful. Oh my god, we see a lot of units go down, but there's just too much coming out of SCAJonSnow. Very nice pick up there, though, in those medevacs to save a lot of units. And here come the Banes rolling in to finish up what they couldn't before.
Yeah, and that was pretty clutch there from TvZ to save those units, but a lot of SCVs are going to be attacked by Banelings. Lings rushing in. Oh, it's a Terran player's worst nightmare to see mutas following too.
And if they can get these medevacs, that's such a big deal. It's not about the SCVs at this point. Getting these medevacs is huge for those mutalisks.
The Widow Mines are going to burrow, but do they get that in time? They do.
Oh, I love the physics on this map. We see corpses sliding everywhere from these explosions.
Yeah, this is kind of wild, but the thing is that the macro from TvZ is good. He's got 5 racks in his main base. Those +1/+1 upgrades coming into great effect here. Yeah, and his 3rd base is going to get back down, but he did lose a lot of workers in that engagement. 16 workers killed from SCAJonSnow.
Yeah, and a completely lifted off base too, so no continued mining. I mean, SCAJonSnow, look at resources lost, definitely behind, but that's mostly Zerglings. And those are, I mean, if there's one unit in this game that is the definition of a throwaway unit, it's a Zergling.
Yes, or the Baneling, you know, it's kind of like the suicide unit. But in the bottom, Jon Snow's also taking the 4th base behind this, so he's going to keep up this aggression and keep TvZ on the back foot. Oh, Changeling to soak the damage.
I did not even know Changelings could absorb Widowmine hits, so that's actually really cool.
Super smart, nice little trick out there. Is going to move in with Lings and Banes, and the Marines really have to be careful. They don't have a lot of like.
Oh, but the tanks, the Widowmines. Sorry, not the tanks. I just see explosion, Terran tanks, but yeah, they're doing a lot of damage. I mean, Jon Snow.
Oh my gosh!
Wow, did you see all that green?
I did see all that green, and I mean, of course, there isn't going to be a whole lot of attack units left here for Jon Snow, but moving in the main base, Mutas, he's going to take that turret, and the mines are not.
The mines are not burrowed. They get picked up immediately, and there's nothing left but a small handful of Marines that, despite stimming, will go down very quickly. There's just too many Mutalisks here.
Absolute chaos on the field. Jon Snow is carving his way through the map. There is an engagement at the 3rd base with speed medevac, but I mean, there's plenty of Lings just trailing it. It's never going to do enough damage. And meanwhile, Jon Snow's got his 4th base finished. He's taking a 5th in the upper left. The Mutas are still alive and haven't been killed off. And there's honestly not a lot of this natural that can really contend them.
I do have to give TvZ the thing though. He's on his way to 3-3, while Jon Snow's only on his way to 2-2. So I mean, he is really behind in upgrades this game.
And these 2-2 Marines are taking down a lot of drones at the back here in a good position, but he's just going to pick up and run back. The Mutas have definitely got to get back across the field. Here they are. Goodbye to that.
Oh man, that Queen is not long for this world. Kind of walks right into the Marines.
A lot of pressure coming out here from TvZ outside the 3rd base of Jon Snow. He really wants to make his stand here. Behind this, he doesn't have a whole lot of units at home, but this is what you need to do in the TvZ matchup nowadays.
Kiting over the Widowmines too, very smartly done. Jon Snow not quite aware this is going to happen. He'll lose a couple more Mutalisks. Oh, but here come the Banelings. Oh my god, the Widowmines have been taken up at this point. There's not a lot left, and the Medevacs are going to try and run away with what little is inside.
They're going to be fine here. The Widowmines are going to burrow. He's going to load out on top of them. Oh, and that Widowmine did explode on that dead Muta.
This has been some really nice back and forth trading. I mean, both players have been losing everything to, whether it's Banelings or Widowmines, their armies are getting nullified time and time again.
Split there from TvZ is fantastic, able to avoid the hits from the Banelings and just let them come in as the Marines and Marauders are dealing damage here. I really like that he's incorporating those Marauders into the unit composition, Ripkin.
Yeah,
they're able to soak up a lot of damage and really focus fire down those Banelings much better if you're able to do that. But the Mutas are really still a concern here for Jon Snow. He's continuing to make Marines, continue to make Widowmines, and this is just the composition we see out of Terran players every single game.
One of the biggest dangers to this, though, is you got to remember, you know, Terran players have a ton of Marines on the field to deal with Mutal Baneling, and all of a sudden, Jon Snow makes that tech swap to Ultralisks, and you're just, the Terran player's in a ton of trouble. So, yeah. I mean, we don't see him going that way just yet, as he's still just on layer, but if he does choose to go Hive, this could turn around in an instant.
I still kind of feel like Broodlords are a better option than Ultralisks. I feel like with the Terran player going for bio right off the bat, the Ultralisk can really get focused down very simply by a good Marine Marauder controller, operator.
Yeah, operate. Well, the big catch to like whether it's Broodlords versus Ultralisks is the question of whether your opponent has enough production to get Marauders out. If you go to his base and you see there's 11 barracks, 10 of them have reactors, you're gonna go Ultralist. There's no question about it.
Absolutely, but TvZ is trying to drop down here in the lower left. He doesn't lose any Marines,
but here come the Mutalisks. He's going to lose everything.
It's over. No.
Yeah. At least for that medevac it is.
The benefit that TvZ has now is that he's got this 3-3. He's in a significant upgrade advantage against these Lings, which are only sitting at 2-2. But the Banelings are going to crash in on a couple of Widowmines. Stims back a huge stim. If the Banelings can crash on those Marines.
Oh, but the Widowmine takes out so many Zerglings, and meanwhile the top left base has been cleaned up at this point. Jon Snow has nothing left. The Mutalisks responding to the wrong fight, I feel.
This is looking really good for TvZ all of a sudden. Sure, he doesn't have a lot back at home, and he doesn't have a huge bank, but this army is being so cost-effective right now.
This is one of the most back-and-forth games, Tim, I have to say. I mean, this is ridiculous. Meanwhile, okay, there's not a lot left on the ground, but the Mutalisks are still here. How many freaking Mutalisks are on the field? 19 coming into the Stim Marine Force.
Enough to easily clean this up. The Medevacs are going to have no chance. Even if that one does get away, it's not going to be enough to clean up these Mutas. Man, those are looking really good in the field despite having no upgrades, but TvZ is continuing the pressure, moving to the north channel here. Constant aggression coming from both players. The Widowmines are not being burrowed, though.
Oh, one just, barely doesn't burrow. And these Banelings still. The thing is, Banelings are, It's questionable whether they're cost efficient or not. I mean, when
Right?
you look at the resources lost, it doesn't look good, but you got to keep in mind, it's equalized out the army how many times now?
Oh, a decent amount, and these mutas are just cleaning up
but
everything.
these 3
Couple of
Widowmines. Yeah, it's got to be careful.
Certain players have to be so conscious of that nowadays.
I know, this is what's so dangerous. Once they have those tunneling claws, it's almost an instant burrow. Oh, man.
Wow, did you see that? He sacrificed the Bangs on top of the Widow Mines and destroyed them underground.
Yeah, now I'm not sure if that was like an active, like, I chose to detonate that, or if the Widowmine targeted the Banelings while they were over top of it, but either way, everything in this small square just died.
Yeah, and I think he may have actually detonated them. It looked like that may have been it, but no one will know for sure. They are now out of this universe, and okay.
Dude, one of the big dangers coming to our Terran player right now is the fact that he's starting to get mined out.
Yeah.
And right now, JonSnow, if nothing else, he has map control. I mean, these fights, like I said, they've been so back and forth, neither player taking decisive victories. But the important thing to remind you is, like, TvZ has not had anything outside of these 3 bases in almost 10 minutes.
No, and he doesn't have a bank behind anything. I mean, although he's doing really great damage with these units, at the end of these engagements, he's losing all of them. He's losing the medevacs. He's being forced to remake everything constantly, and without having that 4-base economy, as you were mentioning, he's in a lot of trouble. But he is adding on command centers to the north. He's just running out of space. This map, Neoplanet S, isn't really too kind to Terran players.
Yeah, the small attack paths, there's not a lot of directions to get in with those medevacs either. But I gotta point out, JonSnow finally on Hive Tech. Now, right now he's focusing still mostly on Muta, Bane, Ling, but eventually he can make that Ultra swap and change everything. But, oh man, these Banelings, are they gonna complete in time to get anything done, Doom?
Well, they could have crashed on those Widow Mines if they
Looks
so
like
desired, but they are going to do it anyway.
Oh man, these Zerglings are gonna die, there's no question about it. Oh no, actually, not triggering anything there.
They're too fast. All right, so more pressure is coming from TvZ with these drops. This has been persistent throughout the game, but JonSnow's done such a great job of reacting. One thing I want to mention is that JonSnow's at a slight supply disadvantage, but oh, I was going to say he's got
this
the economic advantage, maybe not any longer.
He's got to be careful, they're the Widow Mines.
Oh.
They detonate on a ton of mutilas, but none of them die.
But Banelings seem to be the kingmaker in this game. They're really being super effective at cleaning up and as you said before, keeping the armies even. Another attack is coming at the 3rd base now.
The kingmaker for JonSnow? I don't think so, Doom.
Whoa.
Game of Thrones.
North of the wall. Super north of the wall.
Well, actually, you know what? This map is kind of... It looks like this could be taking place north of the wall. I mean, it's Neoplanet S.
What a great reference here. I'm so excited for that season to start back up. But drops are persisting. Not enough mutas to actually clean them up, and those 3-3 upgrades really coming into play. Although it's 25 minutes of the game, they're still paying dividends. But okay, way
he
more
lost
mutas.
so many mutilas. This is the problem, though. JonSnow's starting to make a lot of these small Zerg mistakes. Number 1 rule of Zerg, never engage unless you've got a full army. Trickling in will lose you the game so many times over, and oh my god. These Widow Mines, these Banelings, I don't know who's done more splash damage this game, but
Yeah.
it's been crazy.
It actually looked like the Widow Mines might have done more harm than good there. Looking at the engagement now, the mutas are cleaning up these Marines at the front. They're going to back up. This is a smart, just considering that they're able to regenerate health, that was a smart decision. Pulling drones with the Broodlings, and if he takes out the medevacs,
Here
Marines...
comes 2 Banelings, though! Oh! It didn't take a lot, it only took 1 Baneling to really just annihilate these Marines.
Rifkin, the medevac count is at 3. This is not optimal for TvZ, and JonSnow's pushing forward. The mutas are cleaning up every single one of the Marines.
This is such low army for both of these players at the moment, Doom. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, but TvZ does have the 4th base to the south position, taking the 5th in the lower right-hand corner. A big engage is going to come through, and TvZ, man, he is holding this off. Can JonSnow actually come back? He's still preserved that base to the south, but...
He's out of medevacs, though. This is the big problem. He's only got a couple on the field. They're very expensive to produce at this point. And again, this is a low econ situation for both of these players.
Yep.
I mean,
more Banelings on the way for JonSnow. He's saying, yeah, I got a hive, but what good is that, Rifkin?
JonSnow, every time I cast this guy, he does not go the direction I think. Like, I'm waiting for Ultralisk this game. I'm waiting for Mutalisk last time we cast him versus Stefano. I mean, he is just never going the direction I want him to go.
But the Banelings are going in the direction they want to go, crashing up against the Marines. More are going to fall behind us, and the mutas are just cleaning everything up. Looking at TvZ's army count, he's got 18 Marines, but where are they?
Well, the thing too is like these Banelings aren't connecting to the Marines, but while they're running away, they're not shooting the Mutalisks, which is really, really huge.
Yes, that is a great point to make. There are 6 Widow Mines. It looks like there were some in the main base just now pulling them down.
Oh, he's got to be careful. Oh, he
Not
loses.
as big as I expected.
He loses a couple Mutalisks, but again, for the cost of those Banelings. But Jon Snow, Theognis, they're both on such low army values, they can't afford to lose anything at this point.
And more mutas are dropping, and Jon Snow's gonna have to tap out.
GG. Well, wow. That's all I can say about that game, guys. I hope you enjoyed that as much as Doom and I did.